From the silver screen to the exhibit hall, we're talking about a Montana-born Western actor who went on to become a renowned sculptor and craftsman. Learn about George Montgomery coming up on this episode of We're No Damn Experts.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You want to get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you want to go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Rebecca Ingham.
I'm Shannon Newth.
And we're No Damn Experts. Look at us.
Got it right this time.
Shannon, what do you have in store for us, the keeper of all cool things for the podcast?
Oh, look at you. Just handing it over right away again.
Well, it is Monday, so.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I am excited to welcome Ashleigh McCann to the podcast today. We've talked with the History Museum fairly recently. We talked with Christy, the executive director, about all the renovations. But we bring Ashleigh on today to talk about a specific exhibit and topic that maybe a lot of people don't know. This person has artistic roots and Montana roots and all of that. So Ashleigh, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah.
You're a first timer, so we'll make it real easy on you.
Excellent.
Social security number, birthday.
Oh, shoot. Where's my card?
You can put your deposit at the door for, flowers that you'll send us later.
Perfect. Making note of that.
Thank you.
Ashleigh, are you a Great Falls kid? Are you originally from somewhere else? Tell us your story. What keeps you busy here in Great Falls besides work? Because we'll dig into that later.
Yeah. I am from Great Falls. I was born at the Deaconess Hospital immediately before it became Benefice.
Okay. So you were like the last baby of the Deaconess Hospital.
I can't confirm that, but I'd like to believe
Just
that.
claim it. It's fine. Yeah.
Hey, I'm sure you can find records that'll prove it.
Yeah, that's
That'd
true.
be
That's
great.
true. You should do your own project.
Text my coworker. Hey, do we have? But I was born here, went to Great Falls High, and I just left for a bit of college and came back. My involvement at museums started with Paris Gibson Square Museum of Art.
Oh.
And I still teach art classes over there. Then I got involved with the History Museum, and it's just a fabulous place. And there are so many things, like I grew up in Great Falls. I knew kind of some things, mostly like Lewis and Clark, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were kind of a big deal.
Big deal.
Yeah. Big deal. And I was like the right age where like the Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center opened. And so every time my cousins visited, I got to go
That's
there.
what you did.
So like by fourth grade, when it came to like the school trip, I was like, I know all this.
Like, I can lead this. Yeah.
I'm well versed in this.
As a fourth grader. Like, I got this.
Master expert subject leader on the Lewis and Clark.
Yeah. Did you do the, fourth or fifth grade essay contest for C.M. Russell Museum?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Were you a winner?
I was not. No.
Your artistic abilities do not lend itself to prose? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I can't even remember like what, because it's like what I loved about Charlie Russell.
Oh.
And
you'd spent so much time at Lewis and Clark
Right, you're
Interpretive
like,
Center. You're like,
I would nail this if it was about Lewis and Clark. Yeah.
well, and I was part raised by this Danish modernist.
Okay.
So when it came to like Western art, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, what am I, this
Western
little
art,
pretentious child? It's like, sorry, I have to love Charlie Russell.
seems like such a strong word.
All about other art that didn't have anything to do with Charlie's influence. That's probably why you didn't win.
I know they sensed that in my essay. They're like, she's faking it.
Yeah.
She likes the contemporary art museum more.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Where'd you go to college?
I went to school. Let's see. Brigham Young University, Idaho, in Rexburg.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. Next door.
Raised Mormon.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. And then you came back to Great Falls, worked at Paris Gibson Square. What initially took you to the History Museum? Is it the same position you're in now?
Yes. Yeah. So when they were looking for someone to manage the objects side of the museum,
Okay.
and I had learned the software from the Square. It's Past Perfect. It's like a niche little program
Okay.
that helps us organize everything. So because I had that experience, they just wanted someone with the program, and I guess I was comfortable enough and not too irritating and could get work done, and so I stayed.
Only qualifications, don't be irritating.
Honestly,
I mean, that is a big help.
any interview, you're just sitting there for the entire time going, is this person
Could
going to
I
irritate
actually
me
work with you? Yeah.
long term?
Good job. Good job. Not a lot of people pass that test.
like at least there. And so it's been like hit the ground running on learning everything historical about Great Falls, which has been just a blast. Since working at the History Museum, I've learned so much about this city. I've gotten so much more invested in it too. Like it's amazing how much just walking downtown changes after learning so much about it.
Oh,
And the rest of the city
yeah.
too. It's
Yeah.
been really cool.
Yeah, when you can't pass a building and know what happened there in its history, you'll be like, ooh, I don't know if that makes any sense to put a grilled cheese shop in there.
Like, this place has a seedy history. I don't know. Yeah. Do you,
Just as a disclaimer, that was just a joke. Nobody
Right.
has any knowledge
you can
of
go
anything
to the block
awful and be
and
fine.
eat. Yeah.
Watch
you-
me like look up in the newspaper
Like,
CD incidents, grilled cheese.
that's going to be your next exhibit. Is all about.
Seedy grilled cheese exhibit.
I'm going to bring this up, which is, kind of maybe odd I'm bringing this up, but do you, while we're on that subject, there's lots of like ghost stories, right?
Ooh.
Of like downtown.
This is a
Do you
good
have
question.
thoughts on
Paranormal
those?
activity?
paranormal activity in the downtown Great Falls area?
For or against its existence? I should clarify that.
Controversial take.
Yeah.
Pro ghost activity. Would like to see more.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love ghost stories. I can't say that I believe that they're truly there, but I think like the story makes it there. Like it's real
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
If you have a story about a ghost, it's basically there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more of the
She's not
aura
really
around
on your
it.
side.
Well, okay.
I'm passionate about the ghost side though. Like anytime. Well, and we came across a cool death of a building, which is always exciting.
Death of a
because-
building? Okay.
Well, or death in a building, I should
Okay.
say. Magpie,
Yeah.
who, and they shared with Albanco, and now Albanco's like, could you find anything about our new place? We're like, we'll try.
Yeah.
But that, let's see, on either side, when you walk in, the freight elevator is kind of near
Yes.
to that entrance.
Yeah.
And my coworker was digging around, Megan, and she found a horrific accident. A young man
no.
Oh.
walked in, and the person who was there didn't see him, didn't know he was there, strolled himself over to the freight elevator, and evidently he had peered his head over the 3-foot gate, and a huge amount of freight came down. They heard a scream. The elevator operator stopped, and his head was crushed in the elevator.
Oh.
So
Awesome.
yeah,
I mean,
inspires awe, that kind of an accident.
There you go.
right,
That's
because I don't think freight elevators move at a significant pace. Like I think there would have been
That's a
time to
good
go.
point.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and there's almost like is there a bit of a snark from the Tribune as it writes it? It's like, evidently he did not see this sign. Evidently he did not hear the elevator come. And I'm like, Tribune, are you
Victim blaming. I'm just kidding.
right? This is in the 1920s.
Okay. Oh my
And
goodness.
What's so wild about it too? It's cool. So it's a non-functional elevator now, and
Yeah.
it's been welded down. So
Yeah.
you just kind of walk through it. You can sit there. You can look up and see those little gates, and that's what really blows my mind. I'm like, wait. Someone could walk up, peer their head over, and someone actually died doing that, and the gates never got
and
taller.
we didn't change that.
There's still
Because
like 3 foot gates.
nowadays, that's like tends to be changes that come from traumatic accidents. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's wild. So
Do you ever
hopefully-
go in Magpie?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
All the time.
Absolutely. Well, and we got to do I got to do trivia there.
Oh, yeah.
And I did like a presentation, and it's so fun because for his trivia, he says we really want to trick people and get them to pay attention.
Ooh.
So if you could do like a history lesson and then have questions about it. And I did
Yeah.
like multiple choices, like, no, I removed those. They should be harder. I was like, oh, okay. So it was really cool. And people actually did well. But so I told the story, I was like, and actually there's an associated death here. The other owner, I forget her name. She's great. She walks by, she's like, you scared some people out of the elevator. Good job. I was like, that's awesome.
That's exactly what we wanted.
It's what we need. I
Yeah.
need you to dig some stuff up here in the building so
Yeah.
we can scare people
Yeah.
out of
There-
this building.
Absolutely.
We just put a
That could
sign
come in
up
handy,
on the
actually.
window.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I would
Perfect.
love to do like a walking tour that's like Dead Great Falls.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That'd
That
be so
would
fun.
be good, especially because, some things have changed since the trolley sadly left. There's maybe not the same tours, so you could
Yes.
think you
Oh,
could do
yeah.
really well with those.
Oh yeah. And I can even think of a trolley death too. Like
Oh, perfect.
We've
You
got
can-
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
The things you must just get to know. And then I have to think, like, even when you're hanging out with random people and they're like, this happened, and you're like, not at all. It did not at all happen like
Right.
that.
Like,
I try not to
Here's
be
the
annoying.
facts.
she's the immediate fact checker on everything.
Right. It's like, yeah, that building's like 6. I'm like, no.
No, it's
that's
not.
not true at all.
Yeah.
Times Square's 80s.
So, Ashleigh, what is your official title and job description for what you do?
Sure. Well, I'm the collections curator, media and marketing. We kind of it's
Why not throw it all in there?
I mean,
like we're always a small
Yeah.
nonprofit and
Yep.
we wear many hats all the time. But basically, I just tell people I'm in charge of the 3-dimensional objects and then I do the graphic design and stuff.
Okay.
Woo.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good deal. And you speak at things, you lead things, and you get to talk about exhibits and put together exhibits.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And what's
exciting.
what's cool about the History Museum too is it's not just me doing it. Like our director is like a fabulous curator as well. So she is looking forward to, we'll have a cool display of photography from the Ursuline Western Province archives.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
and they, what those records encompass, they kind of kept the records for the indigenous schools, both like off reservation and on reservation. Ooh, if I got that wrong, blame me. That's my fault. But she is putting together kind of a preview of some of those images that we have not been able to release those yet. They're going to be first released to tribal members and then
nice.
to the
Yeah.
researching public. So she'll have more to talk about in September about that. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there that like it's like our team of 3 full-times that are doing these cool exhibits. Like our brewery exhibit was really headed by Megan Sanford, our archivist. And yeah.
Which is a cool exhibit. And
So
that one's
cool.
staying there for a while, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
we
perfect.
had to let's see, some of it was on loan from us. So the part that had like all of the borrowed, like from Steve Lozar's collection of the breweries, had to return. So that
okay.
part of the exhibit is down, but we still have the cool copper still
Yeah.
from MHS, from the Montana Historical Society, and Prohibition. And yes, indeed, Bootlegger Trail is not just a cool name. It was the Bootleggers Trail. And we have a map of where that went.
Fantastic. We're going to have to dive into that history more at some point.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so tell us about your new... Oh, I'm
Wait,
sorry. Go
before
ahead.
we dig into that,
Yeah.
you're also an artist in your own right.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of art
Yeah, oh,
do
yeah,
you
good
do?
question.
Yeah, my degree is in drawing and painting. And
Okay.
that's my favorite. I've done some sculpture as well, and so I kind of love everything. But yeah, painting and drawing is my jam.
And that's what you teach as well?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Just sign up to take a class. I'm terrible.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I have to
Absolutely
sign
terrible.
up to submit my classes too.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
I will tell you, as much as I get excited about that, it is one area I've decided I'm not going to try to tap into in my
Yeah.
life. I think I'm creative every now and again, and then I take a class. I'm like, oh no, you just appreciate creative people.
Yeah.
You don't.
Well,
you
that's a
can't
good
get
thing,
out of
too.
your one side of the brain to work the other side.
We all
so-
need those things where it's like, no, that one's not for me.
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's part of growing up is acknowledging that's not for you and that's okay.
Yep.
And you don't have to try to be that.
Just going to continue to have an appreciation for it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. And for
Well,
folks
we
that-
will appreciate you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, and I tell students too, it's like, you need to keep a sketchbook. Okay, but here's the thing. You don't have to show anybody your sketchbook.
Yeah.
People would say, "Oh,
it's
that's
like
your
a
sketchbook.
journal.
Can I see that?" No.
No.
No,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to.
It's like
Yeah.
my journal. I'm not going to share. That's for me. Not for...
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and let me tell you, one of my professors is at Western Art Week, and so I get to see him and touch
cool.
base. And he said, "Oh, I like your bag." I was like, "Yeah, I can fit my sketchbook." He said, "Can I see your sketchbook?" I about had a heart attack. I was like, "No, Alan Vasilka can't see my sketchbook. It's not ready."
Why would you ever ask such a
Right.
crazy question
you
like
know?
that?
Not my professor.
Yeah. And professional artist. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was just trying to gauge how far you've come since college.
That's why I didn't want him to see it.
Yeah. Like, oh boy,
Because then he's going to use you as an example at class.
Yeah.
I had a student, Ashleigh McCann, that had great promise, but unfortunately,
You know what I found
I'm
in her
joking.
sketchbook? A bunch of notes about downtown.
Yeah.
oh my goodness. So thank you for covering all of that.
Yes.
Totally.
What I'm going to turn it back over to Shannon. I'm going to stop
Great,
interrupting
thanks.
you now.
So the most recent exhibit that you've worked on, it opened. So the History Museum has second Saturday events every second Saturday of every
Second
month.
Saturdays are history days.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the most recent unveiling was of this George Montgomery exhibit. And I wanted to talk to you specifically about it because, again, I think he's somebody who maybe you didn't realize was such a big deal or had such Montana ties. So I'm just going to pass it over to you. Tell us all about George Montgomery.
I am going to say I know the name because he was part of Waking the Dead
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
some time ago.
So he is buried out at Highland Cemetery.
He
Okay.
is. So I didn't mean to ruin that.
That's fine.
Surprise ending.
I was building up to that.
You're like, that was my whole spiel.
That was a conclusion. Correct.
So tell us all about
Yeah.
George.
Yeah. So I had heard of George Montgomery just because that's anytime you visit Highland Cemetery, you're like, what the heck is that statue of the guy? Like, what is going on?
Oh, okay.
And George's tombstone is a sculpture of himself.
Did he like request that ahead of time, or did somebody else decide to do that?
I've been trying to track that down because I've also heard about it that he was told that like, no, you can't have it holding a pistol.
Oh,
He has to be unarmed. And I'm like, is that true? So I have to track that part down.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Based on what you know about him, do you think he would be the type of guy who's like, nah, I'm going to need a statue as my headstone? Or was it like, okay, so
like,
completely real.
I don't think you could do so many films and do so well in Hollywood without a little bit of that.
Yeah, you
Okay.
have to have
And
a
it's
little
like,
bit of that.
okay, like if I had the opportunity to do that, if I could afford to bronze my own larger than life statue, like
Yeah.
I should,
Yeah.
right?
Really just live on.
I seriously do want a statue of myself somewhere in a
Yeah.
town, in their town square, something.
Totally.
I plan on making a significant impact somewhere in my life. I'm going to get on that shortly, but
You are. Let's just clear that up. You are making an impact.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want a huge impact where people will be like, she needs to be in the town square.
Totally. Well,
In a
and
roundabout.
I had a great conversation with city planning, and we were talking about roundabouts. It's like more statues.
Yeah.
Okay, we need Dewey the Fire Horse, which story for another day,
Oh
maybe.
my gosh, yes.
And Rebecca statue right in around. That'd be so awesome.
there you go. So you just
There we
need
got
more
the
roundabouts.
we
to
need
put
more
yourself.
round.
Yeah.
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 Perfect. Okay, so back to George's statue at the cemetery.
Well, and so finally, I guess growing up, I saw that, and then the mystery revealed that's George Montgomery. Oh, that's him himself. He's not just like a Western movie fan that wanted that. He sculpted that, and he's what I learned too doing this. He's partially interred. He was cremated, so he's partially in Highland and partially in California, in like kind of a Hollywood lot.
Interesting. Yeah.
I should have written down the name.
Hollywood lot
yeah.
works. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
Probably
well,
the one
Hollywood
where they
lot, that's
all
where
go.
They film.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
There's that one famous cemetery. Michael Jackson's buried there. I think all the famous actors and stuff are
Go
buried.
there.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of it.
I don't
Yeah.
either.
Okay.
Would've
Well, it
written
doesn't matter. You
Doesn't
can
really
come
matter
here
'cause
to
it's
see
in
the other
California.
half of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and it's cool
Do you
too.
think he was split? Goodness. Do you think he was split at the waist or like in half vertically? So
He
like
was
a left and a right.
cremated.
Well, you still have to do half
I
and
don't.
half.
Maybe you just
They don't divide the body
wait.
first and cremate.
Oh.
Though. They
So I was like, they probably just weighed the. Oh boy.
That's my thought that I had about
Yeah.
half and half.
Okay.
I've learned
I
a lot
would-
about cremation too, so I can.
If I'm going to be split, I'm going to want to be left and right. Just
So it's
FYI.
even. So it's even. Okay.
You would have to find a mortician that would be willing to split you pre-cremation.
Yeah.
I'm going to need that
Specificity.
There we go.
I mean, if we're doing a roundabout statue, then
Right.
this is no small. I mean, it's a small ask.
it really is.
It's no large ask. Yeah. But yeah, I'll tell you about George.
Okay.
George, who's here in Montana in Great Falls.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
part.
Parts of
of
him
him.
that are here.
For sure. So George Montgomery, he is number 12 of his siblings, and he's
Oh.
born to Ukrainian immigrant parents.
Oh.
And their
my gosh.
family left Ukraine like right before like all this war breaks out, like kind of pre to World War I, all that stuff. So there's kind of an age gap there with the oldest and the youngest, George. So some of his siblings had already settled in Montana. And at the time, Montana has this great, homesteading act where you can get really affordable land, so George's dad comes out first and his mother's back home. And it's a little stressful because, you're selling off everything you own. You have these little kids with you, you're pregnant, and you've got to travel all the way to Montana. But the opportunity was really good for them, and she was convinced, especially with kind of tensions rising in Ukraine. So they come out here. His older brother is born that she was pregnant with when she traveled with. And when George is born, he describes it so well in his book. It's really, he paints a picture really well. Like, Mama just kind of goes in. She's like, okay, this is what's happening. What kids are here to help? Okay, great. Do it. Done. George is born. They were on the ranch. This is how we do it. And then like
No
later,
frills.
Yeah.
right, yeah, and it's like here we go. And the older siblings who were just a bit of a ride out, come to see. Oh, this is our new little baby brother, and yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, and he's born just outside of Brady. That's where they homesteaded, and
And that's just north of Great Falls.
Yep.
yeah. And they had like a couple different moves to some different opportunities around the area, but all kind of like Brady, Conrad, that kind of a deal. And what's so good, so I brought his book with me today to also do like a hard pitch of, this is a fabulous book.
Yeah, I was watching you flip through the pages, and
It's a beautiful big hardback, and it has photographs of his collection of art, because he became an art collector, and of his work. And my favorite part is when he describes growing up and, what they did. It's so well painted. I love, he sees his first movie, them and the family, they hitch up and they go to Conrad. And that's where he's like, oh, this is like, I got to be like those guys. I got to be like Tarzan. I got to be like these Western guys. Like, this is so cool. So then he kind of describes him and his brother, who is, his best pal growing up. It's like this feat of, okay, we have to earn enough money so we can watch all of these movies that come to town. And what their dad says is they'll pay him for getting like gopher tails, getting a coyote was big bucks, a hawk was big bucks, rattlesnakes, and it was more money if you shot it on property versus off property too.
Oh.
Because you really want that off property, so there's a bit of a higher thing. And he says, like, I don't know, like how he knew which one was which.
Right.
And it's like, was it that I had that many siblings? Maybe.
Yeah. There you go. There you go.
Like fact checkers,
Right.
No,
built in.
he's lying, Dad.
Yeah.
It's like they went out way out there to get that. So and so that was really cool. It's so great. Reading from his own words, like how he grew up and what it was like working on the farm. He describes himself as being like a really hardworking kid, and he says, maybe it's just that I like things clean. So I just like wanted to get it done and wanted to get it taken care of. So it's like, a lot of hard play, a lot of hard work, and yeah, just having the country life. There's some, rough times in the 20s and the 30s, but their family seemed to manage to keep things pretty stable. And I think because they had a lot of support, being such a large family. Like, okay, you have like a large workforce, but then you have like siblings in the area too, and the different areas around there.
Such a large family kind of probably helps with the support network.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And something that he talks about too is his kind of first introduction to Charlie Russell. He had an older brother that had come down to Great Falls to work for Sapphire Flour Mill Company. And like many companies in Great Falls, they purchased the rights to produce Charlie Russell artwork to promote their business and to say, look at this fabulous painting. And that's probably produced by like Advanced Litho at the time too.
Right,
like it's all right here.
Yeah.
And so George describes like going through these calendars like, wow, I want to be an artist. This is what I want to do.
So when did...
He watched the movies. He wants to be an actor, and then he sees Charlie's work. He's got big dreams.
He does.
I can't wait to see what happens.
Right. And then we fulfill those dreams.
Yeah, no kidding.
So did the acting and the art happen at the same time, or was the one later in life than the other, or how did he do both?
Yeah, so he eventually, the family moves. He says his dad like finally retires from farming and moves to Black Eagle.
Okay.
That wasn't super true. He went back into farming, and they probably needed to, or maybe he was just the type of guy that works until you're 80 or something.
Can't actually be retired.
Yeah, right. And so George attends Great Falls High School. And he does like a brief little trip out to Hollywood. And this is really good. In his book, he describes him and his brother Maurice. They're the best of buds. So they decide that they're going to order like a film projector and buy some movies, and they're going to charge admission and have their own little theater in Black Eagle.
Nice.
They have some steep competition with some of the theaters in the downtown.
Some real theaters, yeah.
Yeah, but by golly, they're going to do it. And he just, it's like this catastrophe of like the bulb bursting and like film melting and something catches on fire. And he's like, that cost us way more money than we would have ever hoped to make back.
Oh my God.
But they're, first, venturing into the film world, maybe as professionals, maybe air quotes.
Air quote professionals, yeah.
But yeah, and so he has a sister that lives in California, and she had established a Russian restaurant there. And so when he visits Hollywood, he has some family support. He could stay somewhere. And he goes onto the Hollywood lot and, tries to get some work as an extra. So he has a trip, and he goes back, I think once or maybe it's twice, until he goes to college. And he does about a year of university. And, shoot, that's another thing that I should have grabbed. Was it Missoula or Bozeman? But he does a year.
Probably Bozeman.
That's where she wants it to be. Yeah.
I'm like, fact check this. I should mark that. But he does a year of college, all the while knowing that he just wants to get back to Hollywood. But he has like kind of a full rounded out schedule or semester where he takes like even architecture too, and he gets involved in boxing too. In Great Falls, and I think some in college too, and that really helped him getting some stunt work too in Hollywood. And then because this guy could ride a horse since he was 4 years old, he's natural as an extra on a horse, and he gets signed on in the TV show world. Is it the Lone Ranger? That's why I was like flipping through this. I'm like, which was the show? The stuff that I was most captivated, because I'm just such like a home person, was like, it's like once it gets to Hollywood, I'm like, oh no, I want to get back to Montana.
Yeah, there you go.
I want to learn about this Montana boy, not what he did in Hollywood.
Right.
Sure. Hollywood is like, wait, no, we gotta.
But he went on to be in quite a few westerns and things like that, right?
Like 70 some films and television shows, like just a lot. Yeah, really prolific. And he had like 2 years, I think, of service in the military or Air Force.
Okay.
I forget which. And as he described it, he really wanted to learn how to fly a plane.
Of course he did.
Yeah, like
What better place than to join the military?
Right.
if you could pick anything, like fly some planes in World War II, I guess. But he says that unfortunately all they had me do was do training films.
Yeah.
So he got to teach people how to fly the planes,
Okay.
but didn't himself. But that's good maybe to
Yeah.
avoid combat, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Opinion of a little coward probably.
I mean, I think probably that's good.
I'd rather not have a gun pointed at me.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
same. If I
Yeah.
could choose.
Right. Probably good call.
Yeah. That's just my choice.
Yeah. Okay, so we tried to fly planes, but ended up training people how to fly planes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that
does
why
a lot
he
of film
got
stuff.
out early then? Because 2 years is a pretty short stint. He's like, screw
That
you.
could be.
I'm not able to fly a plane. You just want me to act like I am? I need to actually know how.
Right.
Right? Can you say screw you to
Yeah.
the United States Air Force?
Especially at that day and age.
Pretty sure something like that happened.
Yeah.
And that might just depend on, I don't know when he went out,
Yeah.
Was that
Okay.
just the tail end and he didn't have, I don't know.
Yeah.
Got to fact check that.
Yeah. So
But,
then,
yeah,
oh,
so-
go ahead. Yeah.
So that period of time, even though it's kind of a little short, it is a lot of time for Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And of course you get forgotten and there's new people cropping up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he decides, well, I'm going to direct and produce my own stuff, cast
Oh,
myself.
Why not? Yeah.
Done.
Easy.
Yeah. And he does.
Yeah.
And so with enough success in Hollywood, that's when he can pursue all these other talents and hobbies
Oh,
that he
yeah.
has, like furniture making.
Oh.
He's a master craftsman of furniture. It's
course he
unbelievable.
is.
There's these
Wait.
photographs.
Do you have a piece of George Montgomery furniture on display at this exhibit?
I wish. Yeah, I think some of the furniture may have gone to the Palm Springs museum where he had a
Oh.
display, but yeah, there's this gorgeous bench with all these little rungs. There's a big grandfather clock.
Oh, wow.
Good grief.
My
Or
goodness.
no, that's a restoration project he did.
Wow.
But there's this large crib that he designed in the 40s, and then this huge Queen Anne
Oh.
style hutch.
Yeah.
So so much.
Those
And
are
he,
massive pieces.
I know. And he gets a company put together so that, it's him, some other guys, all this producing furniture. That didn't become a big business thing, but I think it was, great for a guy that's really creative, wants to do a lot of stuff,
Yeah,
have the
needs an
opportunity to
outlet.
do it. Here it is.
Yeah.
Well, and so as George describes it, how he gets into sculpture is he'd become an art collector because he had admired since a young boy Charlie Russell and all this. So he collected some Russell. He collected sculpture, painting, all this. And in his book, he actually shares his collection too, which is kind of
Oh,
cool.
wow.
So you can kind of see his taste, and he does some of his own commentary as well on what he likes and a biography on the artist, which is really cool. And so he describes the story as he had purchased 2 sculptures, 2 bronzes from a Palm Springs auction, and he takes them home and he looks at them and he's like, I could do better.
Oh my gosh. That is not my response when I look at art
We've all had those moments, whatever it might be.
in
to
your
go,
own realm of expertise. Yeah.
I could do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the confidence of
I-
George.
Yeah.
I know. Well,
in
and to
all
put
these
that
areas.
in the interview too, I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah.
If it were me, I probably
you
wouldn't have
wouldn't
picked that angle.
verbalize it. Yeah. Yeah.
I would just said it silently in my head, not out loud.
You're right.
Not in the interview that's going to public. But he was a sharp dude. What is it when he's this young guy getting started? And his brother's like that too. So they go to Hollywood and they're like, "Oh, where are you from, kid? Montana." "Oh, same as Gary Cooper. You know Gary Cooper?" And his brother chimes in, is like, "Yeah, and his folks." And then that really impressed them. And before in the book, he had set up, we had never
I was
met
like, do they
Gary
actually
Cooper.
know Gary Cooper? Yeah.
Not at all. I admired him, but never
Yeah.
got to meet him.
Yep.
So he's sharp.
That's
And
right. Pays
what is
off.
he?
Quick-witted.
Uh-huh.
Fake it till you make it.
That's right.
right? And what does he say when he's getting cast and they do headshots? They're like, "Geez, you got some great big hands. Where'd you get those?" He's like, "Oh, from milking cow tits."
Yeah. Well, yup.
And they go, "This guy's got personality. Sign him on."
Yeah.
So George knows what
I
he's
like
doing,
that.
I guess,
Yeah.
when he says, I could do better.
Yeah.
I guess he's
probably
got the
can.
charm.
Yeah. So he sees this. He buys those sculptures from the auction.
From an auction, and he
then
takes
it's
them
like,
home.
I
And
could do better. And that's
Yeah.
how his sculpture career was born.
yeah, so he starts into
Wow.
sculpture, and he had collected a lot of Bob Scriver, who's a
Yes.
great Montana sculptor, fabulous. And he writes in his book, he's like, this is the finest Western sculptor in the United States. He thinks so highly of him, and rightly so. And he becomes friends with him and meets him in a cabin that he had at the time in Browning. And he sculpts this little bison, and he says, with encouragement from Bob Scriver, I continued on and decided to go forward with this. And it's cool. We have a cast of that, like the completed sculpture. And
Oh,
so in
wow.
the book, he
Neat.
has a picture of kind of the maquette and then the finished piece. And so we
Wow.
have that little finished piece, which I think is just a cool story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see and know the progress that happened there.
For sure. And then, like, 2 years later, he makes this like multi-figure battle scene of Custer's Last Stand.
Oh my gosh.
And you're like, who sculpts for 2 years and pulls this off? Oh my gosh.
George
Like,
Montgomery.
Yeah.
no kidding. It's like you don't just design that many
Go
figures
from that to that.
in
Yeah.
a piece. Like that's some serious business. Yeah. And so he really took off, and he was able to have a show at the Charlie Russell Museum too after that was established. And I think it may have included some furniture pieces. I don't remember for sure. But he
Ooh.
shows there, and he shows in California and Palm Springs. And we are really lucky at the museum to have been donated all of these bronze works.
Wow.
Rare for an institution our size to get such a noteworthy and sizable collection. But that's just the generous donors who even drove them up or
wow.
drove them down too. Let's see, it was George was married to was it Dinah Shore? Yeah, is that right? more things. Gosh, more things that I should have. That really wasn't part of my exhibit. I was like, Hollywood, Hollywood relationships, got divorced and all that. So his partner after that, Anne Lindbergh. Yeah, she's the donor of these that she had inherited after George died, and they wanted especially to get Custer's Final Moments, the title of the sculpture, in Montana, a permanent place for that. And I said, absolutely, that sounds
We'll take it.
fabulous. Like how could you not have the story of just like this kid born outside of Brady, lives in Black Eagle, becomes a Hollywood Western star,
Yeah.
and sculpts, loves, is passionate about Western art. And absolutely, we need this in the History Museum. We
Of course.
love those kind of just unique stories. Like you
Yeah.
don't get much more unique than that for a series of bronze work.
No.
So yes, such a generous donation from Anne and her sister May, who helped get the collection here. They also donated all these books too for us to sell. Which just so generous. Oh, and my favorite is the movie posters too. There are 3 movie posters, so you can
That
see
would be super
George
cool.
beside his sculptures, and it's just really cool.
That's awesome.
That sounds like such a neat project to get to work on and then put it up for others to enjoy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You might have probably the coolest job in Great Falls.
I think so. That's
I mean,
that's what I tell people.
I'm saying it. You don't have to boast about it. It's true.
Yeah.
Truly cool to be able to dig into these things and figure out stuff and go, look at this guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So tell us a little bit about what all you can see in the exhibit and how long it's going to be there for.
For sure. Well, the exhibit will be there for at least a year. We don't have an exact close date at this point, but at least a year
So
you'll be able
people
to
have
see
plenty
it.
of time to come check it out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And in the exhibit, you have Custer's Final Moments, which is so exciting. And I'll put on like my art teacher hat too here for a moment.
Please.
And maybe this will be fun if someone's like walking the trail and they're listening to this and they
There you
try
go.
it.
Yes.
People will think that they're doing like a cool Tai
Tai Chi move. Okay.
move. But if you so like imagine like a sculpture. Okay, you're only allowed to work in sculpture between 2 panes of glass, 1 dimension.
Oh.
So what kind of body
Okay.
sculpture could you make? You could have arms posed just in that flat, like 2 panes of
Yeah.
glass pressed against you. That way,
yeah.
maybe leg out. Okay,
Yeah.
one version of doing sculpture. Fine, maybe not the best. How about 2? So you can only do like arm, stick straight out to the side, maybe head to the side, maybe head forward,
Same
maybe leg
direction.
out,
Okay.
walking, maybe that way. It's okay, but we can do better. Now let's check out the third plane. Okay, can we do a body twist? Can an arm be out here? Now we get more dynamic.
Okay.
And it is really cool. In all of George's sculptures, he has that going on.
The
He's not
dynamic
just
part.
Yeah, he's not just like, kind of amateur stiff sticks.
Like
They're
army
all dynamic.
army guy toys are all just
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so all the horses have just that little bit of turn to them. All the figures have just that little bit of something extra. There's a cool, bison hitting a wolf, and there's another favorite of mine is like when friendship ends. One guy is stealing 2 horses, and the other guy is coming back after him. Like, no.
Yeah.
And it's cool. Like every horse has something going on. It's up against a corner, so you can't walk totally around it. You can for some of the pieces, which is great. But this one, you can really see the dynamic. This horse is looking this way. This one's going this way. They're really cool.
As someone who knows nothing about how to appreciate it more than looking and be like, wow, that's impressive. I appreciate you talking about the dimensions of it
digging
so
that
I
in.
can,
Yeah.
so I can look into that more and appreciate that
Well,
more.
it adds that depth into what you're looking at.
Sure, yeah.
It adds another layer of appreciation to
Yeah.
how things can come together, because
Oh, yeah.
we can appreciate, but when we know what we're actually appreciating, it's
Right.
even better.
like
yeah.
different elements that you're looking for.
Well, and next time you're downtown, take a look at Russell and Monty, and check out, how is Russell standing? Is he like a Ken doll up there? Like, of course,
no.
he's interacting with Monty, but is he really stiff? He looks natural.
Yeah, he
That's
does.
a fabulous sculpture too.
Ah.
Also, the texture. Also,
Yeah.
if you look under the arms of the horse, there's like little wrinkles.
Yep.
There's some fabulous sculpture in this city. Yeah.
And now I want to go look at all the sculptures because I know more what to like pay attention
Yeah.
to.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
How possible this was.
Yes.
Well,
I
and
appreciate that.
what's so cool about the History Museum too is all of our great visitors. When we had that opening, a guy came up and we talked for a while, and he said, did you know this is a sign of a good horse? In almost all of his sculptures here, one ear is facing the rider, one ear is facing forward. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing that. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
It's like even in those details.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Very cool. Okay, and the books that you're holding, which I'll post a picture on our Facebook page when this podcast comes out of this
It
book.
looks expensive.
It does. It looks like a very fancy yearbook.
It
But like
does.
really high scale yearbook.
But of one dude.
Mm-hmm.
One
Oh, yeah.
dude's.
And that's
yearbook.
what was donated to you. And then you guys get to sell those.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And 100% of the proceeds go to the History Museum.
Awesome.
So this is a great one to buy many copies.
Yes.
and send them
You're like, please.
far away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
It's
great way to
just-
support us, and it's
And
a cool
it's
book.
still July, so it can be Christmas in July when we're recording.
When we're recording. Correct.
So get your gifts early. Don't wait till the last minute. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
everyone can get a cool George
it
Montgomery
is
book.
a really neat book.
For sure, and they are out of print. This
so
is not
this
being
is
made.
the last option.
Rare. Very rare.
For sure.
Exclusive.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you another little detail on the sculptures too. You'll have to look for John Wayne, the legend.
Okay.
In the book, you get pictures of George and the Duke, and their plans to, George has these ideas of, we need big sculptures of these Hollywood actors, Western Boulevard, all this stuff. We should do this award show, all this. But you get to see the photos of John Wayne signing his name on a piece of paper, because George liked to sculpt in wax, which also kind of surprised me. Like, I love clay, and apparently he just really loves the precision of wax. And I'm like, my gosh, how do you...
It's
and I'm
like a
also
whole
like,
nother level.
do you have AC in... Well, yeah, duh. You have AC in California, especially if you're a rich Hollywood guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like thinking about my house growing up. I'm like, it'd be too hot for wax.
Yeah.
But
I'd get something perfect and then it would
It would,
trip.
Yeah, and
Or
then like a
bent.
horse leg kind of takes the whole
Yeah.
thing down. But he has John, the Duke, he has him sign his name, and he transfers that onto wax. So you'll see one of those
Oh.
sculptures has of John Wayne from his character in The Searchers.
Okay.
Has John Wayne's signature on it. That's really
And
cool.
it's like actually his signature. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So were wax museums a thing when George decided
question.
everyone should have a sculpture of Hollywood people? Because that
That's a
seems
great
to me
question.
like a precursor to the Wax Museum, which does exist today.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that was on my to-do list of look up the origins of Madame Tussauds. Like how
There you go.
how did that even
yeah.
happen?
Yeah.
It's probably George Montgomery.
Yeah, let's credit him.
Is there? Do you know? Is there any signage, or do we know where in Black Eagle they
Ooh, what is which house he lived?
Oh, I don't know for sure,
Okay.
but I think we could find that pretty easily at the History Museum.
Yeah.
Like I think we've got city directories for Great Falls. I think we have some for Black Eagle. But yeah,
'cause you could
we
put
should
like
track
a-
that down.
like the National Historic Register, but just put your own sign out front. Be like,
Yep.
George
Right.
Montgomery's home.
Be like,
yeah.
call Ash. Actually, don't call
Yeah.
Ashleigh if this is a problem.
Like, just sneak it in there at night, and the homeowners are like, "What is this?" Yeah.
Like, sweet, my property value.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
And you just got herds of people standing out there staring inside your, staring at your house, and
Yeah.
you're walking around in your robe with your
Yeah.
coffee in the
Like,
morning, and be like, "What are you people looking at?"
Yeah. And then you can go out to Highland Cemetery and just see George's statue.
Probably
Yeah.
hold his
Himself.
hand a little bit.
There you go.
So he'll have a hand without a pistol in it.
That's true. Yeah.
We could start such a selfie trend,
Ooh.
folks.
Yeah.
Mm.
With respect,
Mm-hmm.
we want to see your pictures of you holding hands with George Montgomery
Yeah.
statue in the Highland Cemetery.
Yes, love it.
How large is this statue?
He's larger than life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
3
for,
times the size he
for
was
me,
when
because
he
I'm
went.
5'2", and I just like have to like reach way up
Yep,
to
you
hold
look
his
like
hand.
a little kid.
Okay. I like it. We should do that. Yeah.
We could set the trend. We'll go out there and
Yeah,
get our
do that.
first ones.
Yeah.
We got to come up with a great hashtag.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind
Mhm.
of like planking. It was eons
Yeah,
ago,
right.
wasn't it? George Montgomerying.
Yeah. There you go. Just make his name a verb.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out something for that. I like that idea.
Oh,
We'll figure it out and it'll be in the show notes if we can't figure it out before the end of the show.
Yeah, it was like, which
you could call it
probably
what's-
should be soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's easier to say, like Montgomery, or you could call it Letzing. That was his name, Letz, which is actually shortened from their Ukrainian name. They kind of Americanized
okay.
it when they came over.
Let's became Montgomery.
Yeah, so apparently Montgomery was his middle name, which he was baptized
Oh.
at 13 and chose that name. And he says it's for his fondness of the Montgomery Ward catalog.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
So awesome.
I mean, I did love the JCPenney catalog
Yeah.
growing up. So
But Montgomery is a better middle name than
it's solid.
JCPenney.
It's a solid name. Well, and that's what Hollywood liked. They were like,
Yeah.
drop the Let's, do Montgomery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
So,
yeah.
okay, so his actual name is
Called it-
George Montgomery Letts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Letzing could work. That
Letzing.
rolls a little better than Montgomerying.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
I'm with George.
I'm with George. There you go.
Here with George.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of options.
Yeah.
If you've got some really great options, send Carol an email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please do.
Information
his-
at
Yeah.
Film titles, Last
Oh.
of the Bad Men.
Oh.
Let's see, what's the other poster that we have up? King of the Wild Stallions.
Oh.
It's a long
let's
one.
not go. Let's not go with that
It's
one.
like that one might go us down some weird paths. Yeah.
Might not be our most appropriate.
Yeah. But I like this concept. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're creative folk. That's what happens here. Well, thank you for all your work on this.
Ashley.
You're so welcome. Thank you so
Studying
much for
this
having
guy.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to have you back many times to talk about all the different
Yeah,
like
Would love
research
to.
another person and we'll talk about them
Yeah.
too.
the
Totally.
breweries. We'll have to talk. Yeah.
Breweries.
Breweries would be
That'd be a good
great.
Yeah.
Can I stretch an entire podcast out of Dewey the Horse? I hope.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
We did an entire podcast on wallpaper. I'm pretty sure we can do a whole podcast on a horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Let's do it.
Beloved
Okay.
fire horse. Yeah.
You had me at horse, so
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah.
Well, and interestingly enough, in the Celtic Cowboy building down in the basement, they have the Billy and Banks rooms, which were headstalls of the horses named Billy and Banks. That's where it came from,
Oh.
because they were fire horses as well. So I'd love to know if they were buddies, Dewey,
Oh.
Billy,
Yes.
and Banks.
I
I like that.
you wouldn't believe it. I'm starting to form my like master sheet of like fire department horses.
That is fantastic.
I want a timeline. I don't know if it's possible. It might not be. But we were donated a box full of city records, which is really cool. And they're like late 1800s,
Oh, neat.
turn of the century, and things like, fire department, writes this letter, we need more money. Nothing changes, right?
nothing
They
changes.
always
Yeah.
need more funding.
Yeah.
And then the city says, okay, do an inventory. And the inventory is both for fire and police and for the jail, which at one point shared a building all together. And so that inventory sheet is in there, and it includes like ball and chain for the jail.
Oh my gosh.
And like hay for the horses and like all the stuff like that. So I told our volunteers they're working on it, it's like, if you see fire department, would you put a little star on that so I can circle back to it?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, I'm very excited for your whole
I am
thing
excited
on the
about
fire
this.
department. Yeah.
And seeing where Billy and Banks fit in with Dewey's history.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we
I
know they
really appreciate your
existed.
fascination with the fire department horses. I'm all
Thank you.
about
Well,
that.
the whole story of fire department horses, just the idea of not having an actual fire truck, but horses that you had to gear up and get
You just
onto
have a
a
little
wagon.
buddy.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's crazy to me.
Those are some impressive horses
Yeah.
with what
No
they
kidding.
saw.
They were
Yeah.
big. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Next time.
look what you have to look forward
Yes.
Yes.
to. So plan your trip now to see George Montgomery, and then we'll have Ashleigh back, and then you can plan your trip to see Dewey the horse. Well, not the actual horse.
wish.
folks.
Yeah.
They
Long
wanted to
live
taxidermy
Dewey.
him.
Dewey should have his own statue like George.
I agree.
Well,
Another roundabout.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get another roundabout.
You could be
Yes.
you could be riding Dewey.
We could
Yeah.
could certainly make that happen. I mean, it would make more sense for our old co-host Maudie
Uh-huh.
to do that because she rode a horse into the N bar.
That's true.
But I
That's
can.
true.
You can do it. It could be like a Godiva.
Yep.
I mean, you could be clothed, but it could be like that kind of energy.
Thanks, Ashleigh.
I like it. Yes.
That kind of
I can-
bravado.
That
Yes.
would make sense. People would be like, yeah, I get that. That was her. So folks, get
way to
here to see the George Montgomery Museum, not the George Montgomery Museum, the exhibit at the History Museum about George Montgomery, and take your picture out at Highland Cemetery. I'm sure we've got some prizes we'll give you. It's going to be a great time. And until we see your bright, smiling, happy, healthy, beautiful faces in Great Falls, we hope you are creating amazing memories with your friends and family wherever you might be. We'll see you soon.
We Are No Dam Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town.